Gonzo, it's been about 2 weeks since our last cup of tea, and well, there's been a lot of rumours. I think there's rumours that's come and gone, and we can no longer talk about it because it's been so long since we've had a cuppa.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk. Well, we've got to talk about the fact that there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk, but not much action, may I say.
No, well, there is some facts, and there's also some gossip, and we'll chat about them both. But we'll start with a couple of facts. Yesterday morning, the fixtures came out. Have you been glancing your BDI over them? Is there anything in particular you've been looking for?
I just looked at the start and the end, really. I know pretty soon that we were, let's be fair, we knew we were going to be away Boxing Day anyway. But I pretty much saw there was the fallout from that. Just first fixtures, I was unsure. I thought that maybe they might have done the deal early and just the fixtures would come out of our first three away. But obviously, the Southampton's got to be rescheduled. I'm not unhappy about that. I knew it would be anyway. It means Southampton's down. Southampton's quite easy for me to get to. It's only about an hour, maybe less, on the train. So yeah, that's bad. But it's unlucky. You know, we've got Brighton and Bournemouth in the. I don't think they don't fall very nicely for us. We don't get a holiday in the sun, do we?
No, we don't. I mean, Man U away, I'll take that. They've got the Super Cup before we play them. So if they play the Super Cup, then they've got us 3 or 4 days later. So I think that's a decent enough fixture to start with, actually. Then Southampton, meh, and they'll have a new manager. Newcastle, I think that's a decent enough time to play a newly promoted team because you don't want to play them first, but they've lost their first couple of games, then it is a good time to play them. So I'm happy enough. Huddersfield at home is our first game. I think that's a really good start for London Stadium. You mentioned the Boxing Day. It's a bit crap, isn't it? Do you not think it is a bit crap that we can't play at home because of Westfields?
So where are we? Where are we in Boxing Day?
That's Bournemouth.
Bournemouth is Boxing Day, right? Because it was Swansea last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Swansea. It was over in Wales last season. Yeah, but I just think it's rubbish. You can't play.
People deserve the right not to have to travel far on Boxing Day. You know, you've just had Christmas. What it does, Boxing Day, I don't know what it's like for your family. Boxing Day would generally be the time when maybe you don't get to see immediate family, presents, kids. Christmas Day, Boxing Day, you might go and see your mum and your sisters and do the nice things like that. So you want it to be local, and I think the moment you've got to travel and take the whole day out, then it stops you doing stuff like that, which is a bit of a shame. Whereas you think, actually, if I could pop to the game for 3 or 4 hours, I might get away with it. Then I can, pop back and see the rest of my family. So it stops that. It makes everyone travel. I don't think that's very nice at Christmas time.
Yeah, I've seen some people say that. Tom was one of them, saying that the best present he used to get on Christmas Day was tickets for the game the next day. And he said, as a kid, like, he used to be buzzing, that he was going to see West Ham the next day, and that's been taken away now. It's like, well, here's your ticket. We're going to see West Ham in 2 weeks. It's not quite the same, is it? But I think it's just a bit crap that Westfields have got us over a barrel. There's not much we can do, really. Unfortunately, this is what happens if we're going to be playing at this ground.
Well, I think they're hopeful that it won't be the case in the future because Westfield won't be the only show in town and the only way to the stadium. But at the moment, they can't open up the causeway, they can't build that new bridge because the school and Puddingmill Lane Station and all the rest of it is still being done. I think at the moment, let's be clear, I don't think Westfield and the club are getting on this issue. But obviously, Westfield have only got a licence to have 35,000 in and around there on Boxing Day. The moment a football match comes on, it kills it, doesn't it? So I think it's something we're going to have to suffer until we can really get a route to and from the stadium that doesn't involve Westfield. And then hopefully the local council are happy that everyone can come to the game without going into Westfield. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, another fact, I mentioned Christmas Day just 2 minutes ago. Another Christmas Day item or whatever is your football shirt. The away shirt came out today. Gonzo. But we've now seen images of the home one. It's been over in sale in Thailand again. The same thing as a year ago. It's been in sale in Thailand at an Umbro shop. Well done, Umbro. You've ruined it for everyone. But do you like it? You're sitting with a home shirt on. Do you like the one for next season?
Well, I like this one more. In fact, maybe this one was the last one. I don't know. Which was the red one with the white stripes? Maybe that was the last home one I got. I tend to prefer away shirts. I think the blue, the third kit is going to be the blue, the nice blue. I like the blue. So I'll probably get that. I wouldn't get it anyway, but personally, I don't really like it. I actually quite like last year's, which was fairly similar to the final season at Upton Park shirt. They didn't change much the last 2 years. This is a little bit. What I didn't notice, you saw the initial one, it had all the Umbro diamonds down there. What I didn't see, there's like a V on it. It's sort of almost a different shade of claret or different material. I thought that was quite nasty and all.
Yeah, I kind of cooled a little bit. When I first saw it, I thought this is horrible. I didn't like last season's home one. I didn't like the away one either. I liked the last one at Upton Park, but didn't like last season. Then when I saw that Umbro track, I thought, what are they doing? How did they go off of that? But I've seen a Hearts shirt. A Hearts shirt got leaked as well. They've got the same thing. It looks a lot nicer than I thought, actually. That Umbro track it's not as bad as I first thought, but it's not for me. Right, well, do you want to talk about some juicy stuff now? Forget news and facts. That's boring. Do you want to talk about some gossip, some transfer stuff?
Give me some juicy gossip.
Well, first of all, do you want to tell people about your shout in case they don't know what your shout is, and then we'll talk about some juicy stuff.
Yes, please. Your shout. That's is a new show. Okay, we've got a second channel. It's called the Hammers Chat Forum channel. So we're going to be featuring more stuff on there, which involves you guys. So the very simple concept of your shout is that you grab your mobile phone, you whinge or whatever, say something you're pleased about. You don't have to just whinge if you're happy about something. If you're happy about a sign-in, if you're pissed off about the kit, if there's something you want to say, you say it into your mobile, you press record on the video on your mobile phone, talk to it, and then send it in to me at Gonzo. What is it? GonzoHammersChat@gmail.com. GonzoHammersChat@gmail.com. What happens is I correlate them all together and we make a little shout of them. It's called Your Shout, and I get 5 or 6 different opinions from fans of you lot, basically saying what you want. We're going to run it all through the season on the other channel, but you need to subscribe to the other channel and you need to send me the clips. The ones I've had so far have been absolutely brilliant. Some right characters who I can see are going to be regulars throughout the season. And that's it.
The link to the second channel is in the description below. Right, juicy stuff. Let's talk about the man that's on the thumbnail. He was going to be the main man to talk about, but there's been news since I decided, and that's Giroud. Sort of surplus to requirements. Arsenal World Cup year, needs to get in that France squad for the World Cup. He's scoring. He scores goals, but is he the type of player you want here?
He's a very good player. I'm not sure he's the pace we've been looking for, but he's a very good player. I'm not sure West Ham are quite good enough that we can turn our noses up at a player of Giroud's calibre. Let's get that straight. We've got to be very careful when dealing with Arsenal. And the reason you have to be careful is for some reason Wenger leaves his business until very late in the window. He either leaves his business until late or doesn't get it done at all. And what we don't need is to be getting to the tail end of the transfer window, still waiting for Arsenal to buy their player, because apparently Arsenal want to buy a forward, be it Lacazette or was it Mbappe, whatever his name is. They want to secure either one of those before they let Giroud go. Well, look at recent history of Arsenal. They're going to be taking a long time to sign that player. I think we need to get someone over the line and get them signed now. That would be my only thing, but I do think he's good. Yeah,
I remember talking about him literally a year ago, and I remember sort of half turning my nose up at him, saying he's a bit lazy for my liking. I still think he is a little bit lazy at times, but I've had a reality check in that 12 months, and I would bite your hand off now to get Giroud. I think he's just a better version of Andy Carroll, more mobile. He's a classier finisher, a deadlier finisher, if you like. One touch control, second touch to shoot. That's what we need. Someone who knows how to sniff, someone who knows how to be in the right place. And I'd bite your hand off for Giroud right now, but he can't be the only striker. This is the problem. We need 2. We do not need just one striker. Giroud is great, but we still need to go get another one. And the question that I'm throwing is sort of, if you get Giroud, will he then go get just like the other striker or winger we're going to talk about later on? But it won't be another. It won't be Iheanacho, for example. I doubt they're going to go get both of them. But do you think we'll get Giroud? It is, like, I know you're talking about the Arsenal deal, and I get what you're saying, but I think they've had a wake-up call over there as well, and there's pressure on them to go get their signings ASAP, and I think they're doing that because every club seems to be looking for a striker right now. Chelsea's looking at Lukaku. Everton are going to need a replacement. Man, you need a replacement in there. Real Madrid are looking at a striker. Morata's going somewhere, don't know where, but he's in that. I think there's a lot of big clubs needing a striker right now, so they need to move fast.
Yeah, I actually, your question was do I think it'll happen? Can I see it happening? And I can't. I just can't. Not just for the reasons I said. I just don't see it happening. I do think it'd be a really good signing. I think the moment that West Ham announced Olivier Giroud with him holding up the new manky old kit in front of the. I'm only joking. He'd probably be holding up the black and blue one. But the moment he was there pictured, and they had a press conference to announce his signing, would be a really, really good day for West Ham. I think it would absolutely. The fans would think, hold on, something else is happening here. I'm not sure what the ticket situation is at the moment, but I do think that would probably be the final push to get those last few season tickets sold as well. It would be a statement of intent because he is a quality player. But I think there's no resale value on him, which doesn't bother me because he's 30, he's not 37. But I also think the wages would be high, and for that reason, I'm not sure that West Ham would push the boat out and do it.
Well, I think the one thing that could push him in our favour is his age. His age is not desirable for anyone with a long-term project in mind. Giroud is very much a tomorrow signing. Come 2 years' time, you're probably going to be looking to offload him. So it's very much a short-term solution. And not every club goes for that. There is some that's got the long-term thing in mind. We need a short-term solution. I said this a year ago with back, I remember. I said, we're buying for next season, not 2 seasons' time. Forget about that. Let's get someone in for next season. I think that's what Giroud is. I think his age will help us. He doesn't need to move. He stays in London. I think I'm quite optimistic about this one for some reason. I don't know why. I've just
I would say with players like that who are, I think, call him a target man, but do him a slight injustice because, as you mentioned earlier, he's slightly more technical and adjust that. But for a target man, the pace is not quite such a factor. So I think with that, his age is less so than if you were. I mean, if you look at someone like, going back now, but looking at someone like Michael Owen was just outright pace. His whole game was based on pace. The moment he got to 28, started suffering injuries, it was pretty much gone for him. I think someone like Giroud could still be good when they're 34, 35,
Yeah. Let's move on to let's move on to the other striker, Iheanacho. Since we last spoke 2 weeks ago, nothing's happened, Gonzo. It's still just sort of hanging in the balance. The only thing that's changed is there's more clubs sniffing in about him now. And we knew this was going to happen. This is what we were saying 2 weeks ago. We cannot afford to drag our heels over this deal. They're just going to have to give in to City's demands. They haven't. And now Palace and Leicester are looking at, and I think there'll be another couple of clubs that decide to throw their weight in.
Well, we funnily enough, you've mentioned 2 clubs there. We were interested in that Slimani for a long, long time. Linked with him for a couple of years, didn't happen. Went to Leicester. Well, not bothered about that. But the big one was Benteke last season. We were linked with Benteke. We bid for Benteke, and we had talks with Benteke. That all happened. Yet Palace got him. Okay. Also, we were linked with Batshuayi for a long, long time last season, and from nowhere, even though they'd done no talk at all, Steve Parish at Palace came in and just put a bid in for Batshuayi, which actually then a proper bid, which forced Chelsea's hand, didn't it? So you're quite right. You can't drag your heels on this thing. I think the very fact that we've been talking about it for so long and it hasn't happened will probably indicate that it won't happen. I just don't see any reason why it wouldn't have happened, particularly if he's keen.
Are you worried about transfers? Yeah, I mean, you can look at it both ways. It's only a month since the season's finished, but there's only 8 weeks until the season starts again, and it's not that long, really. I mean, they're coming back for pre-season training in 2 and a bit weeks.
I'm not worried because I don't think that something's got to be done. Something has to be done, and I think a big signing has to be made. I think the owners know that as well. I've also got quite a lot of. I only think we really need to bag one stellar signing, if you want. Somebody posted something. I can't remember what the actual post was, but it was the transfer fees for a lot of players, which were really quite surprising. I think it had Pickford on there at 30 million and stuff like that, and just how incrementally the price tags of players have gone up. And then I posted something back and said something about scouting. And actually, you looked at Obiang, if you looked at Masuaku, and listed a load of players for us who actually we're very good at spending 5, 6, 7 million quid. So I do think we can get that right, which might bring you on to another one of the guys you possibly want to talk about in a second. So what I do think we can bag one big player, but we've got to get it done. I'm not worried yet, though, and I am confident that actually we can get some guys in at 5, 6, 7 million. Only 1 or 2 who could well prove to be really good value.
Yeah, but I think you're taking risks with that one then, because for every Obiang, there's a Nordvite, for every Lanzini, there's a Traore, etc. And that's what worries you, because all it takes is for you to end up with the two duds rather than one good and one crap. You could end up with two crap ones.
Yeah, but you are right. But also there are Antonios as well, and there are a few of them. And I do think that generally when they get it right, they do. Not only do they spend, as I say, 5, 6, 7 million. Because I'm only being imprecise. I don't know the exact transfer fees, and we're talking about a few players. When they do get it right, those players are actually good enough for the first team. So I do have faith in the scouting. I really do. What I don't have faith on is the going out to buy the big players who don't need scouting. We don't need to scout Olivier Giroud. You know about him. We all know about him. You don't need to scout Batshuayi. Granted, he didn't play much but last season, but these are bigger. They're big players at big clubs. You're not sneaking someone from the second division in Holland or anything like that. There's no scouting involved. It's those players when doing business with big clubs. That's where I question us making transfers.
Well, you have faith in them scouting and finding little gems.
Yes.
That's fine, but the examples you've all used, none of them are strikers. We've been needing a striker since day one. They have still not found. I'll give you Sacco, but apart from that, there's been no strikers. That's why I've got faith that Tony Henry can go out there and find a couple of decent young players that are going to triple in value over the season with a handful of appearances. But I don't have faith that they can go get a striker, because a young hidden gem that's a striker is still quite a lot of money. This guy from Belgium, none of us have heard of him. He's a winger. That's not quite striker, but nearly striker. He's 8 million. So the more forward in the team you go, the price goes up a little bit, and then it sort of becomes your punt becomes like kind of Valencia, 12 million. He was a punt.
No, I agree. We're in agreement. I've maintained we need to spend big and get a prestige striker. I've not shifted on that. It's just I'm not panicking yet, because I do think that the side ones they'll manage, and I just think there's no way that the owners will get away without not signing that big stellar striker, and they need to go. They need to go and do it. You're right.
I'll be worried. Well, not worried. I'm not worried about the transfer window as a whole. I'm worried about certain signings like Iheanacho. I've got a feeling that one's slipping through our fingers a little. I think we were maybe in pole position at one point, and I think we've sort of not ruined, but I think we've sort of been a bit too patient, really. But let's skirt on to other players. We've mentioned, we both hinted. I think neither of us have said his name because we're not quite sure.
Onyekuru.
That's it, Onyekuru. A lot of talk that we need to up our bid for the work permit. Now, I've seen the points for the work permit. I'm not convinced that that's 100% accurate. I mean, I've sort of looked at it, and I don't want to see how paying 0.8 million is going to get us from that percentile to the next percentile. I don't see how 0.8 million does that jump. 3-4 million maybe, but I don't think is what the papers are saying. I'm not convinced. I'm just, but this one looked like it was a dead cert. It looked like the signature was going to be happening 2 weeks ago, Gonzo, but now it's sort of going a little bit quiet again.
Well, this is the kind of signing I like, because I think we need pace and I think we need a bit more skill. You know that. This guy seems to fit the bill. We don't know if he can make the step up, but considering the transfer fee is something along the lines of the loan fee that we paid for Traore and Zaza, it's not really much of a risk, bearing in mind the club are going to make 160 million from Sky this season. So, yeah, I mean, it's something I'd love to see. I think the transfer permit situation, don't you only, the work permit, sorry, doesn't the application only get made once you've agreed to sign the player?
Yeah, but kind of, but at the same time, the club knows what the work permit application is, don't they? So they know before they even make it, or before the transfers even signed, they know if they've got a chance of getting them or not.
They do, but you can't make a provisional work permit application, is my point. So I don't know why they just don't come to a deal with a Belgian club and say, this is pending us getting a successful work permit. I don't see what the point. Here you go, here's your whatever they want, your 8.2 million, whatever it may be. We will transfer the funds or in whatever instalments they will do on receipt of the approval of the work permit. Surely you just do that. How hard can that be to negotiate? So, that's what I'd do.
There's a link here. I don't think you'll have seen this because it's on social media in the last couple of hours. I'll tell you in a second. What I like about this guy is, while I've never heard of him, everyone's been looking at him and hearing about it. There's a West Ham fan that lives in Belgium, messaged me after our show 2 weeks ago and say, "Oh, I live in Belgium. I'll tell you what, this guy basically is what everyone knows. Really, he's fast. He's a winger. He likes to cut in. He's composed. He can score balls. You can." He's basically extremely excited. He is sort of my Iheanacho to his Onyekuru, if you like. That's the sort of level he's excited on. He's saying he's the best player in Belgium at the minute, etc. Yeah. Well, best attacker in Belgium. But one English club that's been linked with him tonight is Birmingham. Harry Redknapp fancies a move for him. And while we're thinking, what the hell? Well, he signed Stockdale from Brighton, the keeper. Fantastic sign. Now he's looking at John Terry on 100 grand a week, and now he's apparently going after Onyekuru.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I had a dream about Harry Redknapp last week. I had a dream that I was on holiday with Harry Redknapp and Graham Souness. Strangely enough, yeah, they wouldn't let us off the beach. Strange dream, anyway. I don't think there's anything in it. Don't read anything into it. He's a funny one, Harry. He'll make a bid for a player if it's not going to come off. Why would this boy go to Birmingham instead of West Ham? I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Because it might sound mad, but I suppose he has spoke publicly about how he's only going to go to a club he's going to get game time at. And
yeah,
well, we think he'd get a game at West Ham. I don't think he'd get that start, if you like.
No, but he might get a shot. He might get a chance to prove himself. I still think that's a really, really strange one, I've got to say. And isn't their owner banged up in China? Where are they getting money from? Where are they going to get 100 grand from to pay John Terry's wages?
They've got like new owners and stuff like that, hence Harry Redknapp being there. But another winger, we spoke about him 2 weeks ago. You really like him, Traore. Now the funny thing is, for the users that don't know, is we've got a member on the Hammers chat, Jamie. He tweeted Bet Victor asking for odds on Traore to join West Ham and sort of transfer him. Bet Victor replied saying no, because we believe he's going to West Ham. It's probably just the bookie jumping the gun, Gonzo, because of the rumours. They're obviously protecting themselves. They want to give out odds when it's all this paper talk. But are you excited about this one? What excites you more, this one or Onyekuru?
Oh, I don't know. An even level of excitement, let's say. I really liked him. When he tore us apart when he played us. And then the more I saw Middlesbrough play, they played the most defensive football I've ever seen in my life last season. They were dragging everyone back. I think they had the least number of shots per game as any team in the Premier League that there's ever been since the Premier League started. Or so there was some stat which showed a real lack of ambition in committing players to go forward, basically. He was at Villa before that, but he's from Barcelona's academy. He's quick and he's skillful, much like Onyekuru. So either one of those, as you know, I've gone on about it for quite a while. I think we're a counter-attacking team. I think when you play as a counter-attacking team, you need to offer pace on the break. And when Antonio's out, we just don't have it. So either or, I'm not bothered, but he's got pace to burn and he's got a lot of technique, and obviously needs to work on his finished product. But I don't know do we know what the price of him would be?
I think it's about 12 million. I think he's got it's around about 12 million or so.
Yeah, there you go. So when there's going to be some player will go for over 100 million this transfer window, so you know you're basically going to be sort of 12% of the best player in the world. You know, that's what 12 million buys you. You've only got to look at Pickford, which is going to be the example that's going to be widely used. So I think for that, I don't expect somebody that's going to, you know, be the top scorer in the league or make 20 assists or 15 assists. Just someone that can make us a bit better. And I think he probably would be hopefully better than Snodgrass at the very least, which is it's going to cost about the same as what Snodgrass costs. So, you know, that'll do me.
I think I'm one of the least excited fans about this sign. I'm not saying he's crap. He's just, I think he's a long way to the finished article. And I think we've already got some of them in our academy or under 23s, really. I'd rather see one of them play than us bring in someone. I know he's fast, etc. But he got 1 assist all season last year. I know they play defensive football and stuff, but if you beat your man, that's very well. But the problem is you've got to do something with it. And if you can't do something with it, you know, I prefer I know you're sort of saying, well, either or really, but this Onyekuru, at least he scored 25. So, well, Belgian league, yes, but at least you can do something with it. And if the goal's the same size in Belgium as it is in England, really. If you can stick in the back of the net over there, I'd expect him to be able to stick in the net over here. It's the same thing, really. Just get the ball in the net. But keeper, Joe Hart, this one has been around for a while, hasn't it? We were going to buy him 50 million, then it's come out going, actually, nah, the owners don't want to pay 15 million, but they wouldn't mind taking him on loan. Something we're it's a familiar feel, Gonzo, but would you like to see Joe Hart arrive?
Yeah, but I'm not overly concerned about it. I think what Joe Hart has is Joe Hart's a leader. He's very, very vocal, and he organises the defence in front of him. He's good at that. I think obviously if Zabaleta was playing as well, he's got a relationship with him, so it would add two sort of wise heads to the defence who would probably communicate better and be better as a unit. Actually, as a goalkeeper, I'm not sure he's a ton better than what we've got. I think his stock has fallen quite heavily, and if it's rumoured that he's on 175 grand a week at City, no reason to disbelieve it. They pay really big wages. So they want to get somebody to take him on loan for 100 grand a week. Well, they're not going to find anyone because he's not 100 grand a week goalkeeper. And I think while we've got Adrian sat there on 42 grand a week, why would you? So I don't think he's a ton better than Adrian. I think they're both prone to mistakes. But I would take him if it didn't bankrupt us.
Yeah, I'd take him on loan because I've just lost all faith in Randolph, to be honest with you. I really wanted to see him start. He did get his starts. It was horrendous in some games. He's cost us a bit of points. He's away with Ireland, still making the same mistakes. He has clearly not learned his lesson, which is don't come pinging out for a cross he ain't going to get. He's still doing it. And I would just fear that he has to be our goalie for a period of time next season for whatever reason, whether it's an injury or it's a lack of form to our Spanish keeper, whatever. I would worry if I had to see Randolph given that extended period in the goal again. But the only problem is we're not going to be able to shift him. I know I've seen people say, oh, we sell Randolph for 5 million. This isn't FIFA Football Manager. Your second goalkeeper in the Premier League these days is free. You release them and you go get another free one. Very rarely does a team out with the top 6 pay for their second goalie. There's good free ones out there just now. Caballero, Valdez, Ruddy, they're all decent number 2 goalies, all free without a club. So the only way we're getting rid of Randolph is if he goes out the door with no fee attached to him and someone just picks him up on a freebie. But Joe Hart loan, yes. Pay, no. I don't think he's worth the financial package. I think there's better ones out there. I know people are turning their nose up at the Pickford deal. I think it's a bargain, not a bargain, but I think I said this about Manny last year. Remember, I think they know what they're getting. I think it's a fantastic deal, 30 million. If you've got the money, go get him. They're getting someone they know can play the next 10 years. And the way the money's going, Harry Maguire is away for 17 million up to Leicester.
Who I saw it, and that's what I saw, and my first thing that came into my head was, who is Harry Maguire? Who is Harry Maguire?
Centre back at Hull. He had a fantastic season. He was linked with us in January, actually. He was linked with us again in the summer. Fantastic season. 17 million, fair, fine, whatever. But it just means that Winston Reid's worth 25 at least. But the thing is, this is what the fees are these days. And I just worry that we don't have the balls to compete with that. I worry, like you said about the big transfer, about how we don't go get a big transfer. I think we're just too chicken. And I get it in a way. If I go to the shopping centre with 100 quid to get a pair of jeans, and I see a pair of jeans for 100 quid that I like, I might get them. But if I see a pair of jeans for 70 and a t-shirt for 30, in my head there's something saying, hang on a minute, I could go get not quite as good pair of jeans, but I could go get a t-shirt as well for it. And I quite often would go do that instead. And I wonder if that's what our board do with the transfer. Instead of just go gung-ho, here's my money, they think, oh, we'll split it in 2, we can go get 2 players instead of just the one.
That's a nice t-shirt you got on there, actually, mate, to be fair. Is that one of Tim's?
Yeah, this is one of Tim's. King
Go on,
Apparel.
give him a plug, go on.
Yeah, King Apparel. It's owned by West Ham season ticket holders. Really good clothes, actually. Really nice people that run it. So we'll put the link below for you if anyone wants to have a look. Fantastic threads. But let's wrap up the transfers things, Gonzo. Would you say that, I was saying this earlier in the week, we just have to wait for the big teams to have their meal first, and then we pick up the scraps? Giroud's waiting for Liverpool. Giroud's waiting for PSG, Lyon, whatever. He's waiting for the big teams before he looks at us. And I think we have to wait for the scraps. And once we've had our scraps, we pass the crumbs on further down the chain to the championship or whatever, unless you get your checkbook out and you pay the money for a meal.
Well, they need to not do what you said. They need to not wait until everyone else has stopped feasting at the table or whatever. They need to go and buy, and they need to do it. They can't rely on that. I think we did a bit of that last year. I think we waited and waited and waited last year, and look what we ended up with. We ended up with Zaza, Fletcher, who was a young lad, cost £1 million from Man United, hadn't played any first-team football, and 2 injury-prone strikers. So, they can't afford to. They've got to be fortune favours the brave. So they've got to go and do the business. Got to go and identify who you want, be it Batshuayi, Onyekuru, Giroud, whatever, and go and get him. Like you said, that purpose with Mane or Pickford, when a club says, that's the guy I want, I'm going to go and get him, go and get him. No night, mate. Yeah. So my son's going to bed. No night, mate.
Last one, we'll start taking questions in a couple of minutes, and we've got little bits of news to get through. But this is the last transfer one. Chris Smalling, he's been with us a little bit. Looks like he wants out of Man U. Would you take him here?
No. Basically,
how come?
Just think it's the last area we need to deal with. We got young, good players coming through. And we have established senior centre-halves as well. Bonner's came back from injury. Reed looks one of the best guys in the league anyway. We bought Font. Collins may well even stick around. We got Oxford. We got Burke. Declan Rice can play at centre-back. That's not needed.
Totally agree with you. Not just the fact that we've got established centre-backs. We've now got established partnerships. Let the partnerships evolve. Don't change them up again. We had this problem with Font come in. You didn't know who everyone was. Everything's about. They now know each other. Just leave it. Let them get familiar. And not only that, we've got Nordwijk can play there and Kiati can play there if he wants to play in his best position. My opinion, obviously. Right, question time. Get your questions coming in. I've got my pen and paper ready. Let me get my pen and paper ready. Topics going. There's some more news. Pre-season friendlies are out. We're off to Germany. We're off to Iceland the week before the season starts, and we're off for a camp in Austria. Are you going?
No, my wife would have my guts for garters. I spend a day listen, I've got the journey that you've got, but it's it will take up a whole day to go to West Ham. I spend all season doing that. Now it's family time. Although I would love to go to Austria. Austria's a lovely country.
Yeah, there's no games in Austria, though, so I wouldn't go there, mate. You'll be watching them.
Well, I just want to go to Austria. That's all.
But they announced it really late. Do you not think this is a really late time to announce it for the Germany games? I mean, we knew when the Premier League fixtures were out at the same time as the pre-season ones.
Yeah, but we also knew it. We also were told quite early that this would be happening as well, exactly to Iceland and Germany. In fact, I think we even mentioned it in one of our previous shows. I don't know why they announced it so late, but loyal West Ham fans will buy their tickets and go over there, and and that will be part of their holiday will be to go and watch West Ham. And I tell you what, one day I would love to go and do that actually. When the kids are a little bit older or something like that, to go on the beers and follow the team around. It'd be good fun.
I'll tell you what, this is maybe me being cynical, but you guys watching this can let us know in the comments below if I am being cynical. I think they've announced it late because of the crowd trouble in Germany a few years ago. When we went there a few years ago, there was that everyone was throwing plastic chairs about and stuff with the Newcastle fans. I think they've announced it late, so in hope that not many people travel. And also, we're playing in grounds that hold 4,000 and 7,000. What sort of capacity is that? It's not big stadiums we're playing. We're playing in little League One standard stadiums. Both times against Werder Bremen, who are linked up with Betway as well. So I think they've announced it late, so the crowd won't go really. But we play Man City in Iceland as well. For those that don't know, a week before the season starts, the Friday night, we're playing Man City. Gonzo, we've renewed our season tickets, but are you tempted by the £2,500 season ticket?
What, to the ladies?
Yeah, to only £2,500, Gonzo. What a bargain!
Listen, no, I'm not tempted. What can I say? People need to get over there and actually. They just need to get people into that ground before they worry about such things. I mean, the ladies have attendances of it's lucky if it gets to 50 people go and watch it. So I think the first thing they probably need to do is invite people in, encourage people over for free. I'll probably be going for free before I went for $2,500, just to get people over there, create a bit of atmosphere and get something going on in the stands. So as it gives something, a bit of crowd to get behind the girls. Yeah, it seems awfully early, but unless, you know, listen, they might have big things planned to get into the Ladies Super League or whatever it's called. But it's a long way off there. I think they need to run before they can. No, walk before they can run. Is that it? Yeah, something like that.
Do you think it was poorly timed? I get what they're I actually get what they're trying to do, but I think they're trying to do two things. Either one, the club fund it, or two, it's self-funded. And if it's self-funded, I think it should almost be independent again, which it was a couple of seasons ago. It's one or the other. But I think they're trying to but I think it's the wrong time to go cap in hand to fans and say, here, everyone want to fund it for us.
I'm going to be a bit controversial, to be fair, but ladies football is self-funded. That's what it is. Okay, every sport has a commercial. Is run by commercials. Okay, so your sport is only worth what sponsors will pay for it. Okay, that's why when everyone was saying for years that the ladies tennis players should earn as much as the men. Well, absolutely, they should, because just as many people want to watch Navratilova or Serena Williams or Steffi Graf as wanted to watch Roger Federer. The women were worth just as much as the men because they brought in as much sponsorship. Okay, it doesn't really bring ladies football. The sport in itself is not as big. Okay, it's not comparable, so it has to be funded by the men's game because that's where all the money is. You're just not going to get enough money from dribs and drabs from $2,500 off. If anyone pays, it'd be a handful of people. You're not going to generate enough money to take the women professional, which what needs to be the women's teams that are professional, which I guess are Arsenal and Man City and teams will be very much bankrolled and subsidised by the club. That's the way it has to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it costs that much in the grand scheme of things either. You know, 50 grand. So it sounds a lot to me and you, but you're paying a league club. That's 1 week's wages for a top player, and that does the club from youth level to senior level for the year, really. But right, next one, Stephen Henry. Tonight the Mail has announced that Stephen Henry has been released from the club. It's about time we started getting rid of these hanger-ons, not quite made it, 22-year-olds like Stephen Henry, Donnell Henry, Goalkeeper.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned earlier. Yeah, you mentioned earlier about these about the young kids. We do have a bunch of kids who are ready to step in. You want to see Cullen next season. I'd like to see more of Nathan Holland. But there's quite a few others as well. We've got Declan Rice wants to come in, Queener. We don't need these guys that haven't made it. Actually, we've not got a Europa campaign this season. So we do need to clear the decks, allow some opportunities. If there is a senior injury, one of the young lads comes through.
Yeah, I agree. It's time. I think there's only 5 of them maybe that's in that age bracket that sort of, they've not featured for the first team. So why are they here? I mean, they did the first one by getting rid of Wesley's son. They finally got rid of him, thank God. But Stephen Henry's next casualty. Thames Ironwork kit's out. Did you see it, Gonzo? Have you had a look at the Thames Ironwork community kit?
Yeah, I did. It's really nice. Really nice. The claret one, the home one. I mean, I thought it looked better. Look better than the West Ham kit, but there you go. It's a simplicity about it. It's nice.
Yeah, if we're taking pre-orders on it, there is a shop. We'll put a link below. It's 25 quid for the home or away. If you order it in June, it goes up to 30 quid in July onwards. If you haven't seen them, have a look. Lanzini made his debut, Gonzo, for Argentina. Has that bumped his value up a little bit? There's 2 ways of looking at this, I think. One, fantastic. Lanzini now knows he can play for Argentina while at West Ham. 2, people will be looking at Argentina, looking at Lanzini going, who is that and where is he from?
Yeah, I thought the second one as soon as I heard. Yeah, and also I always think about injuries when players represent England, represent their international team. Yeah, it would have bumped his value up, but by the same token, it may well have made other clubs more aware and want to come and get him. So yeah,
I think it shows him. I think it shows Lanzini that there's no need to leave West Ham. You had aspirations to play for Argentina, clearly. you don't need to move. You can do it while you're at West Ham United, and I think it's a good thing. I do think it's a good thing. Boats next season, we'll have news coming up soon. There's a lot of people have been asking about them season tickets, and I think the fixtures coming out encourage people to ask again about the season tickets. We're getting there. News will be out soon. We had a charity auction during the week. We raised £600 for Dads on the Pitch and £150 for John or Bobby Moore. So thank you very much to everyone. And last but not least, before we get on to your questions, the Blowing Bubbles Summer Annual is out soon. The link is below. We had a chat to 3 of their writers. If you haven't checked that out, it's on our channel somewhere. So go have a little look. Get your order in for the Blowing Bubbles Annual. Gonzo, are you ready for question time?
Bring
you
it
like
on.
This bit, don't you?
I do like this bit. Yeah, the unscripted. Well, not that the rest is particularly scripted, but yeah, go on, bring it on. Who we got?
You basically put up chatting with me for 45 minutes just so you can answer a handful of questions.
I want to say hello to Mark, who just watches all our things. Mark, who is he was the paramedic. Where is he? He used to be a paramedic. Cockney Board. Mark, hello, Mark. Thanks for watching, mate. He gets very excited about a cup of tea, so I just want to say hello to him.
Sean, I like this question. Sean says, "What is our number one signing for the summer? We can make one signing. Who would it be? Keep it realistic. You're not allowed Messi."
No. Oh dear. I say I like this bit. He's got me stumped. Because what I'll do is I'll say someone and I'll think of somebody else afterwards. I did actually think Oxlade-Chamberlain would have been a good one, but he finished the season strongly, and now he's played for England and scored a goal the other day. I'll tell you what. You want to be realistic, we could do a lot worse than buy Theo Walcott and play as a striker.
Okay, for me, it's Iheanacho. I generally have him as my number one signing. Stephen asks who will leave. I'll tell you what, actually, this is what we're struggling to do. While we can rip up Stephen Henry's contract, we're struggling to get Enner Valencia out. No one wants Sacco.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. I just think, Sacco had a 16 million deal agreed to go to West Brom, failed his medical because of his knee. Even if we got 5 million for him, that would be something. Even if we got 8 million for Snodgrass, that would be something. But you're absolutely right. There's a bunch of players who we could probably get away with doing off the books and get 15, 20 million to our coffers. But those guys that I've just mentioned would certainly need to go, plus the other deadwood that we mentioned earlier. If we bring in another winger, I wouldn't be that disappointed to see Feghouli go, although I was pleased with his interview today. He said today he wanted to stay at West Ham, and if he carries on with that sort of attitude and he can carry on like he played in the last game, then hopefully there might be a future for him.
I think the problem with the players we're talking about, if they're not desirable to the newly promoted teams, upper echelons of the championship teams, these are panic buys. And these are not leaving until the 30th and 31st of August. So that's when teams who are in and around us or in the championship and Premier League will be struggling to get players in. They'll think, you know what, Snodgrass has been there all summer. He's 3 games into the Premier League. He's not started a game yet for West Ham. Let's go get him. These are panic buy signings for other clubs. And I think we're going to have to wait until panic buy season sets in, if you like. Just hopefully we're not going to be one of the teams doing that. JP Hammer asks, James Collins, he's in his last 12 months now. Would you give him a new deal? Or would you let him run out his contract in Cheerio? Or would you look to offload him now?
Hello, John. No, there's sort of neither. I'd let him run out his deal, and then I would then offer him a route onto the coaching staff. Like he's a man for life. He's a proper hammer. I'd like to keep him involved at the club in any way I could, really.
I would let James Collins decide. If he wants to go, off you go. If you want to stay, you say, I would have given him a new deal, though. I'd feel bad saying this, but I would not be disappointed if he left this summer, just purely because I want to see Reece Burke next season. The only way he's going to be getting a game is if someone gets out his way, and he is the prime candidate, unfortunately. But I'd make sure he had a testimonial of some sort before he goes. And unfortunately, it can't be the London Stadium over the summer. So if he was to go in the summer, he's not going to get one. So I'd be giving him a testimonial ASAP for sure. But another Stephen, a different Stephen asks, would you would you go for Fraser Forster, the Saints goalie?
Actually, Stephen, I do think that's an improvement on what we've got slightly. Although, you know what? There's something about Adrian's character that I do like. I don't find a massive problem with our goalkeepers. We've got him on with our goalkeeping situation. I do like Geo. I think Randolph needs to be improved. We could swap Randolph for Fraser Forster. I'd certainly be very happy with that.
I bite the handle. He's too pricey though. This is the problem. Premier League goalies. Look around. Forster would be at 18 million. Schmeichel will be over 20. Trying to think of other established Premier League goalies, but those two, for example, they're big bucks. You ain't getting them for cheap anymore. Rowan asks, does Bilic need new coaches? He's got a new physio. That's a start.
It is a start. It is a start, actually. I'm surprised they managed to get him to agree to that. I think Bilic needs new coaches for Bilic, because there were times when it was last season when there was a possibility that Bilic wouldn't continue in his job. At the very least, he's got to see out his last year. So this is a real chance for Bilic to impress. He's had one really good season and one poor to average season. I think given the right players and the right coaches, he can do something this season. So it's really up to him. If he feels he can do it without those coaches and the right signings, then it's up to him. But it's his job that hangs in the balance. So, yeah, I think he needs somebody else to add to the staff, though. Yeah,
I'm swings and roundabouts. I mean, yeah, last season we all said he needed someone, but the season before, nobody was saying you need more coaches, Slav. You know, when we're flying high in the league, the football was fantastic. Nobody was suggesting Bilic needs new coaches behind him. So, like you say, it's up to Slav, really. It's his sharpen your own sword, really. Die your own sword. Don't die on David Sullivan's, for goodness sake. David Hooper, would you like to see Tony Henry take control of the transfers and basically David Sullivan and Bilic to bugger off and let him get on with it?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm sorry, who said that? David, did you say?
Yeah, David Hooper, yeah.
Yeah, David, I would very much like that, I have to say. I think the guy knows what he's doing. And it's not just what he's done here. He made a success, many good signings. Everton, I'm struggling to think of him now, but I did remember seeing a list. It was quite impressive. I think not everyone might fancy John Stones particularly, but he's still got somebody. I bought him for next to nothing from Barnsley or somewhere, who's turned out to be a £50 million player. I thought it'd be Seamus Coleman for something like £60,000 from Derry, or I don't actually know. It actually wouldn't have been Derry, would it? But no. Again, really good right back. He's very good at it, so I wouldn't mind seeing him being given a free rein. Yeah,
I would only do it if Bilic gets a long-term deal. The reason being, Tony Henry buys for the future. So to do that, he needs a manager that he knows who he's buying for. There's no use him buying all these players. We get rid of Bilic, and then we're bringing the most offensive manager in the world in. Likes of Fernandez is then useless. Masuaku is then too attacking of a left back. Tony Henry's going to buy players for a manager, doesn't fit. So I think you need to give Bilic a long deal, Tony Henry a long deal, put them together and say, right, Bilic, come up with plan A, give it to Tony Henry. Tony Henry, find young players to fit plan A. Then hopefully in 3 years' time, our team will be a bit like, wash my mouth out for saying this, our team will be a bit like what Spurs are right now. They're singing off the same hymn sheet. Everyone is laughing. We've got a few more questions before the show finishes, but we've been doing questions similar to this in a series called Let's Discuss Over the Summer. The first episode is up where we discussed Figuli, Snodgrass and Nordby. Do you want them sold or not? There's one or two people in the series who you've not seen very much of. One guy makes his debut on the Hammers Chat series, actually. Nick, you'll have seen him on West Ham Fan TV, Fan Cams. That's a bloody tongue twister, that one. But they're going up over the summer. We've done one. The next one's up tomorrow night. So subscribe to the channel. Keep your eyes out for it. Gonzo, last couple of questions. Chris asks, would you like more branding between wherever you're coming from and the stadium itself? Does it need to be more West Ham?
Yeah, but there's a lot of... Yeah, it does. But unfortunately, there's just nothing anyone's going to do about it. The building work, myself and the boys, when we went to film the series Let's Discuss, which Gio was just talking about, we were up in Stratford. We went up to the stadium on Saturday, didn't we? It was Saturday. And there's so much building work going on. Just can't see how they would be able to brand it. I mean, things are just popping up all the time.
I think we sort of have to hope businesses switch on a little bit to the fact West Ham now play. Because at Upton Park, I was thinking about this, the branding wasn't done by a club. It was done by the bookies who put West Ham specific odds in the window. It was done by chip shops having their meals named after players. It was done by newsagents having clad in blue signage. They were switched on. They built their business or sort of used branding, West Ham to brand stuff, etc. I think you just need independent, if there is any, around Westfields to sort of use that a little bit. But
just before you go on to your next point, Geo, I think you're right. I've got a message from Craig Chandler, who you'll know. He's got this. He's sent me the exchange between him and Victor. Can I please get a price on Adam Traore to sign for West Ham, please? Victor says sorry, we won't be able to offer any on that. Craig said why. He said, and they've said back, well, this usually happens when a transfer is close to being completed for the player. So that's two different people we've heard that from now independently. You never know.
Yeah, so we'll make of that. Hammer Time asks, is it important / ideal to get the transfers in before the friendlies?
No, I don't think so, mate. No. No, because I don't. Friendlies, they never play the first team in the friendlies anyway. There'll be smatterings, little bits and pieces, but there'll be players on extended rests. There'll be young players playing in those games who won't feature. I mean, Cullen and Samuelson have featured heavily in pre-season before and things like that, and then they don't sort of get a sniff really. So I don't really think it matters, to be perfectly honest with you. Certainly if we'd sign someone like Giroud, it won't matter, because as Gio alluded to earlier, he lives in London. It's more that settling down for players. I don't think a trip abroad helps them settle. Actually, what I think new players need to do is get into their new surroundings, learn the way to rush green, get themselves a new place, you know, in East London or Essex or whatever, and really get used to their surroundings they're gonna be living in.
Well, I disagree with you there. I think it is important to get them in ASAP, get them gelling, get them on the team bonding, etc. I mean, if Arbeloa had come in June instead of August, would we have known he was a bad egg pretty quickly, and then we could have got someone else in or got rid of him before the window shut, etc. I don't know. It's all theory.
I just think a lot of them don't go, Gio. A lot of the real first team don't go on these tours. That's really my point.
Yeah, the first team will be on these tours. It's the local ones that don't play when it's West Ham 11 or whatever. But we don't live in an ideal world, though, unfortunately. The transfers, we don't control the transfer. West Ham don't control the transfer market. We've just got to sit and wait for sometimes, unfortunately. David asks, what's our acceptable league position for next season? Second last question. David says, what's your acceptable league position next year?
Acceptable or predicted? And anything's going to be acceptable. I mean, it depends on who we sign. I think you have to accept if we finish sort of in the, you know, if you finish in the top 12 or something like that, because it probably means you haven't really flirted with relegation much, you know. So what do I expect? I expect 10th or something, maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it depends on two other things. One is cup. If you go to Wembley and you finish 15th, I'll take that over finishing 10th. And then two, young players. Again, if you offer me 9th or 10th and you would play senior players, it's very comfortable. Or we finish 14th and we get a couple of thumpings. However, Burke, Colin and someone else get real game time, real minutes, I'd take the 15th anytime, because I want to see the young players. And I think those two factors. But yeah, 14th above. I care more about what I see rather than where we finish. I want entertaining football. I want football that gets me excited. There's too many times at London Stadium last year where we got bowling, usually because we were getting smashed. But you were sitting there thinking, you always wanted full time to come, really, and you shouldn't feel like that football. You should be wanting the game to go forever. So I want entertainment. Last question, because I like this question from Bob. Gonzo, 3 players out, 3 players in. Who are they? Remove 3 and take in 3 players that are sort of ideal to you.
Oh, Bob, dear me. Okay, so let's get rid. I'm gonna bit of a cop out on who we get rid of, but we'll go for Enner Valencia, we'll go for Robert Snodgrass, and we'll go for Randolph as well. Actually, forget Randolph because it means we've got to bring in another keeper, and that's a bit boring. What we'll do is we'll bring in the Onyekuru. We'll bring in Batshuayi on a permanent. We're signing Batshuayi, and you can leave your comments, and we'll go with Jack Wilshere.
Ooh, you're gonna get some comments for that one.
That's what I said.
I agree with that kind of. Valencia, yes. Sakho's he's the first one out the door for me. Get rid of him. I kind of want to cheat and say, Spiegel will be my third player, but I'll say Snodgrass as well. The three I would bring in is Iheanacho, Sigurdsson, and Llorente, purely because Llorente and Sigurdsson link up beautiful. Them two, their chemistry is immense. Take that to West Ham. Him, Carroll, Iheanacho, three completely different players, three completely different options. That would be my three. Anyway, that's it from Gonzo. Make sure you check out. There's loads of stuff for you to check out. The forum, the second channel, link is below. The new series, Let's Discuss. There'll be a new one up on Friday night. Make sure you subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed us nattering away, hit the like button. Comment below with your thoughts. Loads of questions. And if you want to comment below with your answers to what we've discussed, take your phone out. Record yourself for 60 seconds. Chat about anything. There's no limits. You can get angry if you want. Check the video out down below. Someone got angry in the last one. He was not happy with the board anyway. A lot of effing and blinding there. But send your clips in. GonzoHammersChat@gmail.com. I'll put the email just below. But anything else left to say, Gonzo? Cheerio?
No, I think cheerio will do it for now. And we'll see you soon, hopefully with some news rather than us just gossiping about gossip. Yeah,
we'll be back very soon. Video on Friday. There's a video going up Saturday night as well. Me and Gonzo will be back with another cup of tea very, very shortly. Thank you for joining us.